So a big difference is obviously the size of the opening, which is huge. You have a very nice view on 360, and the connection inside-outside is just perfect. This is achieved, it's a bit different from the 55. On the 55 you have an island galley in the middle. On this boat we achieve that with a bar connected to the worktop of the galley, and then the door is sliding through the bar. And two panels on this side to shut the boat. But it makes a very nice feeling connecting inside outside. So you are completely connected to the life happening in the cockpit while you are cooking, preparing the meals. You're still part of the discussion. So that's very nice.
It's very different from the 51 as well, isn't it? Because the 51 is lovely, but it's a much smaller axis.
Yeah, more traditional. Huge. Yeah, it's that was what we could achieve with the engineering of the carbon bulkheads, because obviously this bulkhead has to be carbon because there's very little material in the corners to match the load. Because this boat can be sailing upwind in 40 knots, sailing at 12 knots, beating into the waves, so it has to be strong and stiff. And the door is more heavy on this boat than the 51 because there are more heavy panels, more tracks, and all of that is heavy. And this could be achieved by saving weight on the structure of the boat. I will show you the detail of the build, but we saved lot of weight during the construction, that we could spend that weight in this feature. So you have more vision height, so you can see the horizon even if you are tall. I'm 1.87 and I don't need to bend to see the horizon. Chart table facing forward, of course, because it's where you want to stay when you are on watch in bad weather, being able to see on 360 what's happening. And of course, all of the chart table can be customized with the electronic you need. But it's not only a chart table, it's also a workplace. You know, many people are sometimes still running the company from the boat, and you want a proper space, not even if you're not using paper charts, of course. So the galley is very, very ergonomic. So it's very easy to cook there. You could choose from a different cook stove. On this one, I selected both electric and gas cooking for redundancy, which could be nice if you have any electric failure. So storage up there, sliding drawers, a place for a garden for aromatic herbs. You have storage with different cans to store the pasta, rice, etc. 2 fridges or freezer, and still storage for bottles in the front. So basically everything is very accessible. Another difference from the 51, we now have enough room to store things under the floors. So you have bins to store extra food. Under the seating, that's also storage with large lockers. Table is convertible as well, so it rotates, deploy, raised, or you can lower it and make a bed, which would be a very nice feature with to have a home cinema. Then you would have a screen there that you can deploy and a beamer there, and you would have a good time at anchor.
Nice.
On the countertop, we have, of course, bins and a special one for directly to the water for the biological waste. So nice feature to prepare food.
There's such a lot of space in here, and it's such an integral part of the cockpit as well, isn't it? You really
yeah, it's a
feel
single
it here.
space, yeah,
Yeah.
and with a good connection, yeah. It's
Yeah. Well, talking of good spaces, let's have a look down in the hulls. I guess this is the owner's one, isn't it?
yes,
Over here.
owner's hull on starboard usually
Okay.
that when it's a 3-cabin version. On 4-cabin version, it's usually the opposite. The owner's hull would be on port side, but I will give you details.
Okay.
So we still have a pantry in the staircase.
Oh yeah.
Plenty more storage for the galley. So there you have privacy from a sliding door, which will close the staircase and reveal a locker there. A big difference from the 51 is the bed are now much lower. On the 51, the bulkhead was 40 centimeters higher because we needed this bulkhead for reinforcement for the hull. So it was a complaint for many owners saying that it was not that easy to access to the bed. So we made the reinforcement different, so we could have much more space for the bed. So you have a 1.6 queen size bed, which could be even increased to king size if you don't need the extra shelf on the side. It could be 1.8 meters wide. Opening in the back, large window on the side, so you have a perfect view on the water, and it's unobstructed compared to the first Outremer from 30-40 years ago. The space was much more closed with many more bulkheads. So now the modern materials give us the ability to keep the stiffness and a more open feeling there. We worked a lot on this boat on the access to the systems. So, for example, you have the main fuse in the hull. It's just a panel which is just scratched. And so you can access all the fuse very easily within a minute.
What do we have under the floorboards here?
So also access to different systems, water, plumbing, but it's obviously also storage. There's a lot of volume. So many owners have plastic boxes. So you can store things and keep it out of the water if there's any water in the hull. You could see there all the switches for the water circuit. You could see everything is labeled, and you have cold and hot water system. So it's very easy to operate the boat and to check anything. If you have any leak somewhere, you can close the circuit very easily. Everything is accessible. Nothing is hidden. Nothing can be changed. If you need 20 years later to access a system, to install a pump or whatever, you have cables and access to everything. You could see we have an aluminium frame under the floor to support the floor. So the floor, they are sandwich panel. They are still very light, but they don't make any noise because they are independent from the structure. That's, I think, one of the most interesting features in an Outremer is the balance between the structure of the boat, where everything is laminated on the hull, and the accommodation, which are independent block, which are not touching the structure. And that's why the boat is very silent when you sail. You never heard any creaking, cracking sound. The doors are always closing, and the drawers don't move also. So there's a decent amount of storage. It's not as big as the big production cat, but we feel that's enough space for most people. In the owner's hull, you have the cabin aft, the bed aft, plenty of storage in the middle. So it's a huge wardrobe. That's where you have the space for For the washing machine, you could have a 5 kilograms washing machine there. That's the case for the daggerboard, and as you could see, it's not too much protruding in the hull. And remember when I said that the boat is engineered to face a huge load, and that's what this shelf is for. Of course, you can put things in it, but it's also an important reinforcement to hold the case of the daggerboard.
Let's swap places with you. You go into the head and show me what's up there. I should just stand back here.
So the bathroom, it's a huge bathroom in a boat. Many people are surprised to see so much space, and they didn't imagine that you could have such a big bathroom. If you have a 4-cabin version, that would be a cabin and a double bed, and the bathroom would be in the middle. But you have a full-size shower. You know, you can be tall. There's plenty of space. A small seat. You have a window on the side. You have an opening window there, which is nice to make an air vent through the hull. Toilet is usually electric and still storage, lockers and storage in the bathroom.
There's not many toilets you come across that have such a good view.
Yes. Yes, toilet with a view. That's precious. A view on the swimming pool. So let's move to the porthole. So this front cabin is an interesting part because that's what we call the MFS, for My Free Space. You have the ability to have 5 different possibilities there. So this is a standard cabin, which is a simple double cabin. As you could see, another difference from the 51, the width of the bed is much more. You have 20 centimeters more than the 51, which was hardly a double cabin, but 2 adults can sleep there very well. Among the possibilities, you could have the favorite we are making the most is what we call the combo, where you have an office, a desk on the exterior side with a seat and a very nice view while you are working. But on the inside, you have a folding berth, and you have storage in the upper part. So it's a nice combination because very often you don't need that many berths, but it's nice to have a small office. But when you have guests, and it's always very nice to have an extra berth. Some people have, instead of having extra storage, you could have 2 berths, 2 folding berths. You could have a walk-in dressing room, and this would be because then the porthole might become the owner's hull. Because the big difference here is you have in the porthole you have separate head and shower. So the shower is nice also. It's big, and the head is aft. It's you have a sink and the head, and of course an opening hatch. So the aft cabin is same size than on starboard, with also his own wardrobe. Of course, forgot to mention, but plenty of storage under the bed, which could be accessible under the bed or under the mattresses, with lattice, and which give you a very good quality of sleep. One of the things we wanted to improve on the 52 was also the access to the systems. So everything is under reach. Usually what can go wrong on a boat is the electric part. And you see, no screwdriver needed, and everything is very accessible. If you need to fix to change a switch or anything. So wide panels, and That's also an improvement from the 51. On the 51, the aft is very narrow, and that's much wider, so you have plenty of space to work around the engines. You can see the mechanical steering system, which is very easy to disconnect if you are stuck with somewhere. You have the fuel pre-filter to check if it's not clogged. You have the belts, which is very accessible from the front. You have the fresh water pump. You have the connection between the two tanks if you want to connect to one tank or the other, or to feed the pump. And of course you have the water maker. You don't even need to go down below to access it. You have the electric box, which is a nice feature because you can connect the batteries together. If one engine battery is dead, you can select the opposite battery. So you can start the port engine with a starboard battery. You can even start it with a house battery. If both batteries are dead, you can use the house battery, which is always filled because of the solar panel, to start the engines.
And on the subject of batteries, what kind of battery capacity is typical on a 52?
The start battery for the engine, which are just used to start the engine, they are 75 amps hour. And the house battery, it's usually lithium, which is optional, but everybody goes for lithium now. And the standard option is 6,000 watts. And you could have even a third and maybe a fourth battery to increase the capacity.
Okay, Mathieu, tell us about the helm position and the sort of sailing area, because that's quite a departure from the 51, isn't it?
Yes, on the 51, the helm was on the bulkhead, on the coach roof bulkhead, and we decided to bring it further aft, have this canting system to have multi-position. This allows to lower the winches for better access also. But what's very nice on this boat is a different position to control the boat. So starting from the vertical classical one with a nice post to rest when it's bad weather, you have the engine control, you have the autopilot, you have the windlass control under the end, and a perfect view on the four corners. You can see the four corners of the boat from this position. If you are in nice weather and you want to enjoy the sail and the view, you bring it on the side, and then you will be very close to a feeling on a nice monohull with a perfect view in front of you, perfect view on the sail, and you have a bench that you can even share and enjoy the feeling at the helm. But my favorite position is inside, slightly inside, would be there. From here you can still steer the boat, control it, still control engine, etc. But you are just one step from the sheets, so it's very easy to steer the boat single-handed. But you can also control it from the cockpit. So whether you are out, up or down, you're still controlling the boat. And of course, in the worst weather, you will bring it back completely down, close the side fabric of the cockpit, and have a perfect view in front of you through the windows. And you can be comfortable controlling the boat, seeing all around on 360, and still have a perfect touch on the wheel.
This isn't the first time you've used this configuration, is it, either?
Yeah, we did it on the 55, and the difference on the 55, you have two wheels, because the boat is wide enough for that. So you have two engine control, two wheels. You can choose the position. You could have one wheel down and close, the other wheel up, depending on the shade or the wind is coming from. The difference on the 52, we wanted to keep the possibility of having a tiller. So it's you have an optional tiller on port side, still with the same seat than on starboard, and then that's the classic feeling with a tiller.
Okay.
And I think it's very unique on the market to offer this double possibility.
It is.
Of
I
steering.
mean, on the face of it, it looks quite interesting. It's intriguing because it's an asymmetric setup for the helm position, and yet I suppose in reality, most multi-hulls, most cats, have got their steering offset anyway.
Yes, because on most cats it's not that fun steering. Very many boats have hydraulic steering, so you don't have any feel. So you are in control, but you're not enjoying it, and most of the time you're under autopilot. We are very proud of having one of the very few cats where you have a very good feeling at the helm.
What is this? So you say a lot of cats are hydraulic steering. What's the steering control here?
Oh, it's mechanical. It's
Right.
only mechanical. So you are in direct connection to the rudders.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, let's have a look up on the side deck and do a bit of a tour
Sure.
around the boat. Show us around there.
So you have bags for the sheets. The lines are protected under this cover, but of course it's still accessible. We don't like to hide any lines. If something is fold, it's important to stay safe. Control for the sheets, for the halyard, for the reefs are from the helm station. So as you see, the winch are pretty low, so obviously they can be electric, which is easier to operate, but you can still operate it manually if you want to keep training.
This one is electric though. That one's electric, that one's not. Can you have that one electric?
Yes, of course.
Oh, you can, okay.
Yeah. That's another thing. On the 51, the two winches were too close to each other to have two engines. On the 52, they have enough distance so they can be both electrics.
Tell me about this sheave here that we see just on that side of the winch. What's that for?
Yeah, it's a nice feature. We wanted also the feedback from the owners. They said that they would enjoy controlling the boat on the deck when the weather is nice and you want to exercise. It's nice to operate everything here. But when the weather is bad or it's very cold, you can bring the sheets down in the cockpit. So that's what it's made for. So the sheet, for example, the sheet of the jib would be behind the winch. You bring it in this sheave down in the cockpit, and you would operate it from the winch in the cockpit, which is electric also.
Right.
Same for the main. So you have another winch to operate the main. So you could completely close the cockpit, being completely protected, and still access to the sheets, control your sails and the steering position from the cockpit as well.
Okay, let's have a look a bit further forwards.
Handrail, on the side there. The hatches compared to the 51, they are now flush, so no damage on your toes. Two very big sail lockers. You've seen how huge they are? So there's plenty of room for the sail, for the fenders, but also for the toys, paddleboard, kites, whatever, bike, of course.
And it's probably difficult to see from the camera, but that volume goes right the way forward here, doesn't it? It comes right up to here, so it's a huge space.
Yes, we still have 4 different watertight compartments, so you have several crash boxes, but you also have a double floor system, so you could basically cut the hull in two there. You don't have any drop of water in the living quarters. So it's very important for safety. You know, sailing around the world, there's always logs of wood, containers in the water. So yeah, they are huge. Trampoline, several options. It could be smaller loops, more comfortable. This one is polyester black, lasts longer and looks better on the picture as well. So the main option there is this longeron, which is an option which is needed if you want to have a Genoa plus staysail combination. Because the standard platform isn't structural, so you can't put load of a stay there. but this one is carbon reinforced, and you see it's pretty long, as I told before, to increase the size of the code cells. And we also have this option of an extra net to have a safer access if the furler is jammed or anything. But it's also a nice place to rest, have a nap, or watch the dolphins.
Nice.
So the stay for the stay sail is removable. So at the moment it's stored by the mast, and you set it so it's hooked on the stay sail that you take out when you don't need it. So it's easier to tack with the genoa. So this boat has a genoa instead of the standard self-tacking sails. So it's the stay sail which is self-tacking.
Okay.
You see on this rail. So the difference from the 51, on the 51 the mast is stepped on the deck. So the good thing is you can now enjoy this front part. We have cushions covering the space, and it's a very nice place to stay when you're sailing downwind, protected from the wind with the coach roof. We have an additional winch there for the tensioning the stay. We have control for the windlass. The windlass is out. You have a pass for the chain, which could be dropped without touching anything. And still, it's important to see the chain. If anything is wrong there, you can access easily. Of course, you have steps to access the coach roof and the mast. On our boat, the boom is very low, so it's very easy to access the sail. Same, if you need to fix something with reefing lines, you don't need to stand and being very acrobatic.
And you can get right to the back of the boom by the looks of it.
Yeah, of course, because with a solid bimini, which is covered with solar panels, it's a very safe place to access, and very easy to operate anything and to fix anything. On this boat we have extended for the boom to attach the sail a bit further on the side, so the sail is stacked more properly when you lower it. So on the front deck we have a big locker there. Plenty of space to store the fenders, the lines, any toy. You have access to the chain, of course, and you have two tanks. One tank for diesel and one black water tank, and that's the same on the other side, but leaves plenty of room for the toy.
Is that a diesel tank on the other side as well?
Yes.
Or is that where it's diesel? Okay.
One on each side.
Right. Okay. Where are the water tanks?
Under the aft berth.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to store the fuel tanks under the berth in case there's a leak for any reason.
Right.
It's better, and the weight is better centered there for the diesel.
Mm. Okay. So this side is much the same as the other side, of course. Tell us about the dagger boards, because that strikes me as being, I mean, that's so central to a central part of Outremer's performance.
Yes, we feel it's really important. It makes a difference. It makes a real difference to sail with dagger boards. It reduces the time you spend upwind. You know, many people say, okay, with good fixed skill, you can sail decently upwind, but sometimes the sea is very choppy and the wind is not consistent, and the difference can be huge. You could have like 15 degrees difference, and that means a lot of hours spent in the worst condition for any boat. You know, it's never fun to sail upwind, and you want to shorten that time. What's very special there, I think we are the only cat builder doing that, is usually when you use dagger boards on a cat, most cats with dagger boards, you will use it with the top of the board being level with the deck level. So you can use a full eighth of the hull to match the side load of the dagger board. We don't do that. On an Outremer, the head of the board is going, when it's fully down, is going 1 meter below the deck. So creating a lot of load. So the structure of the case of the dagger board has to be much stronger to face that load. What is it for? Just for extra safety margin. When you raise the board, on most catamarans with dagger board, the board is very high up the deck, and that's a lot of windage, and that's a foil that was created to create a lot of foil effect. On our boats, when you raise it, it's not higher than the lifelines, and so you reduce the windage. In a storm, if you are caught in a hurricane, you don't want to have those boards very high up, which could be risky. You want to reduce the windage as much as possible. So we feel it's very important for safety, and that a lot of impact on the labor to build the boat and to make it strong, because of course the load on the case is huge.
And what's the maximum draft then when the board is all the way down?
When it's down, it's to 2.6 meters, which is a good base to have a solid push and to beat into the wind. Definitely. So we can probably match the wind angle to good cruiser monohull. Not the best racers, of course, will do better, but our VMG will be probably equivalent because we are so much faster even upwind. So the tiller, which is optional, of course, on this side, curved to be more ergonomic, so you can turn it depending on the ergonomy you want. But it's a very nice combination of the quality of life we can offer with this nice living space, but also still having good feeling and good sensation for people who want to really sail the boat.
It's a feature that has been familiar across the Outremer range for a long time, maybe since the beginning.
Yeah.
Clearly people like it.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why you would choose an Outremer. You know, a very common situation is a couple where you see the guy who say that he needs to switch to a cat for family reason, to have friends, family, wife, kids. They don't want to heal and they want a cat. And the guy usually have a poor opinion of the cat. He say that we hear nasty things like it's a caravan, it doesn't sail, etc. And so the guy say, okay, I'm ready to switch to a cat, but I want a boat that sail. I want a boat with a good sensation, which is safe, which is good performance, good windward ability, and safe in bad weather. And yeah, that's what we try to achieve.